Sure,
like
yeah,
the ways to essentially become somewhat invincible, the ways to kind of get your crowd control, the ways that you can, melt people with like, not essentially true damage, but percentage damage.
But reduce defense damage with Secret Sword, right? You really enable yourself in a lot of ways.
Exactly. So when you've got things that are statted above you, it's not like it's going to be easy, but Aegislash always kind of has a chance, and that's something that we got, I think, a chance to see right there, which did start that big turnaround, and I think it was honestly really, really well played from them to try and push all the way into that victory. But boy, that clutch moment at Rayquaza was just simply too good from Zeta.
Way too good. I mean, and we got to admit also, the first 7 minutes of the match or so, it did feel like Zeta Division was handling it. Obviously, that top path victory going in the favor of Santos Laguna, but bottom path having a bit of a tough time against how powerful Zeta Division is. And all right, while we were waiting for these players to get set, we got one more interview, so we're going to throw it to that. And while we wait for game number 2.
Okay, wonderful. All right, everybody, we have Zeta Division beating Santos Laguna in this first game of the best of 5, and I'm here with Zeta Division fans. So give it up for Zeta Division, everybody! Yeah, Zeta win! All right, getting ready for this next game of the best of 5, and we'll see how Santos Laguna is gonna respond. Back to you.
So much so. All right, cool. We got a look at some of the...
Anything that does big AoE damage, anything that's strong early, I think would be great.
Okay. So you're the angel on the shoulder of Santos Laguna. Let me be the devil. It's time. Run it down, Santos Laguna. Don't allow Zeta Division even any room, because that is what they were doing to you as well. This again, I love how aggressive both these teams are, and I think if they want to play to their strengths. But, of course, I think your advice is correct. This is a dangerous spot to be in, especially being down 1 game. You get a bit more flexibility in this best of 5, but still, even if you got more rooms to give, you have to take a lot as well.
Sometimes you're the hammer, sometimes you're the anvil. Sometimes you're the angel, sometimes you're the devil. I don't know. We'll see if they want to be the hammer or the anvil. Right now, they are going to be starting off with a pretty aggressive first pick.
Oh, look at that damage dealt stat, by the way, from Rom with Serena in that last game. Oh my word. 115,000 damage on this Stomp Grassy Glide Serena. I mean, so like we mentioned, we're switching from these ranged attackers to these melee brawlers for this meta specifically. It's already paying off.
Yeah, and also win rate went up from the already highest win rate Pokemon in the game off that, and it just got banned more, so encounter rate went up as well. Makes a whole bunch of sense. Ho-Oh, though, is going to be let out of jail, and Tomato on the Ho-Oh is going to be a very, very scary thing to behold for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Ho-Oh, Blissi, that is so much HP to work with. It could be very interesting to see what Santos Laguna want to go, and so far, it looks like they kind of want to enter the mix, enter the brawl. Clefable and Snorlax, 2 Pokemon that love the longevity of some of these bigger team fights, and they can provide a lot of resources for that. Of course, I feel like Snorlax is one of our biggest mainstays, but Zeta Division going to be locking in the Garchomp. Obviously, they did have a roster change, so the normal Garchomp player has been switched out. That is Tommy, and they are going to be locking it in.
I do think that's a great pick against what they're potentially picking here. Like you said, with their second and third picks, they are going to be looking towards staying a little bit closer together, being a little bit tankier, and that's exactly what Garchomp likes.
Exactly.
Exactly that.
Yeah, so not too many changes, right? Galarian Rapidash not here anymore. We're going to go with Latios, and now we don't have the Eldegoss any longer. It will be Clefable. So a much more group-centric team fight. Also, Anislas has changed up their items slightly, I believe. Weakness policy being equipped. There is a non-zero chance that this won't be inside there. I'm saying non-zero. I'm saying non-zero.
I know.
I'm not saying for sure.
I will say in the past, there have been a lot of Scythers that have used weakness policy.
Sure.
I don't actually really fully understand why. That's like my own problem, I guess, but I have seen that for a few years. So not 100% guaranteed, but that would be kind of cool to see. That would be a very, very defensive team. Maybe just kind of playing Protect the President with the Latios as kind of their main damage. But on the other side, the Dodrio, another Pokemon that's really high up in the win rate at the moment, but an interesting pick to go up against this comp. I would have to assume that this is going to be Tri-Attack. I feel like that's the only way that it makes sense.
Yeah, I really enjoy Vidopa locking something new, but they kind of had to. These banning phase focus a lot on those 2 damage dealers from Zeta Division previously, Serena and Blaziken, so important to Vidopo and Rom respectively in that last matchup. We got to shake things up somehow. Santos Laguna doing that in a few ways. Taking first pick in our draft, not to mention finding some new bans being heavily targeted.
I'm also quite happy, both this game and last game, they didn't immediately go to that Zorark Comfei strategy.
Yeah.
They showed off what else they had, and honestly, I'm like loving it even more considerably. But here we go, game number 2, Zeta Division up 1-0, but it's not match point quite yet as we're a best of 5.
All right, Santos Laguna gonna be sending Latios into the path. This is really tough for this Pokemon. Latios needs its level 5 as rapidly as you possibly can. Putting it in tandem with the Snorlax could be working, but Tomato and Rom striking very early, leaving a lot of their own wild Pokemon in path just to favor these contestables. Kira doing a great job of out-securing 2 contestable Pokemon, though.
I am annoyed thinking of fighting against that path.
Yeah.
That looks so incredibly annoying. A little bit more of like a brawler path up top, and I do love seeing both the huge pink blobs and not evolved quite yet, just trying to help out their little friends. But bottom, it's pure evil right now.
Right, exactly. Yeah, nefarious, evil,
Yes.
whatever you'd like to say. It is very, very scary at the moment. So far, Hitman not hitting that level 5, at the very least, Anysus has, but so has Vidopo. I think these players very aware of who's hiding in which grass. As a tri-attack strikes first, Vidopo forcing Anysus out of that bottom L bush.
You said it was going to be a match between them. They almost had a little bit of a 1v1 right there. They are both going to be helping that bottom path, and it does seem like they're not going to be pushing for all that much extra on top of the experience, but oh my gosh, you move so fast in that it's so easy for Tomato to just kind of move forward, harass a little bit, just be annoying, which is exactly what you need to do, especially because you want to kind of get that Snorlax a little bit lower so it can't just run around and be the body blocker that it wants to be.
Wow, okay, Tommy on the top side, we saw a little bit there with our picture-in-picture, getting 2 KOs in a row. So absolutely dominating the top side. Mufasa struggling a little bit more in this game, potentially without the pocket of that Eldegoss to support them, and Minato really needed to get their levels up as well. They finally have access to Moonlight, though, so we'll be a bit better in tandem with that Aegislash. For the time being, though, Tommy is really throwing out the damage. Oh, but there's the counter KO. Minato shows, yeah, you don't touch my all-rounder.
This is the most ridiculous stat we've seen all week. Santos Laguna's average feints per match, 6. Zeta Division's is 19. You're one of the best teams in the world, and your average feints per match is 19. That is a very, very interesting stat. I would love to dig deeper into that, but we've got a match that we've got to watch, and I think that's going to take me a few hours. Tomato, right now, kind of 1v2ing this path because it's Tomato.
Yeah.
And that's how scary. That's how scary this Pokemon is right now.
Now, the interesting thing about Tomato staying in these aggressive positions is it does allow Hitman to stack up more of that Aeon energy. Okay, already a knockout. Kira down. Vidopo finds 2. Is about to get up to that level 9. And of course, Unite move will be accessible. Triple Trample is here well before the first set of Regis. On the other hand, Santos Laguna are even searching for a level 8. Mufasa finally hitting that break point. No Unite move to the next level, though.
So everything we were talking about the very early aggression, especially crashes onto these top tier gold zones, or these tier 1 gold zones, I should say. It's just all happening again. Zeta Division is running a very, very similar concept. They've already taken on the tier 1 gold zone on bottom. This Regieleki is going to be going to Santos Laguna. That's got to be pretty good for them. They really want to control at least one of their tier 1s for the rest of this match, and they've got to get some points back. They're not going to be pushing this one in, but at least it's not getting pushed into their goal.
Right. Mufasa gets a couple of attacks into that Mewtwo, but Rom still having teleport off cooldown means they're able to jump over that wall and escape any bit of mobility that Mufasa could throw. Those boosted auto attacks can both be a hammer and an anvil, if you will, for these Aegislash. Can bring you into really dangerous territories with that far dash. However, when you're striking in a Tomato, I don't think you're too worried about where you're going. That's a full burst damage with the green illusion dive from Anysus. Tommy is able to grab them and get that support with the Unite move. The Garchomp absolutely reigning terror here in the middle of the map.
Rom doing so much damage from the back line, but trying to get Dove, unfortunately, was not able to quite get the KO. And so Rom is going to be able to clean that up while we get a little bit of a 2v1 in middle. We're just kind of playing leapfrog here with KOs. It's just like I'm KOing you, somebody else comes KOs me, then somebody KOs that person over and over. A lot of trades, but it kind of felt like it was even trades. However, the overall experience was in the favor of Zeta Division before that fight. So if you had to look at an overall resource winner, it's probably Santos Laguna.
Yeah, I think it's sliding slightly in their favor with those scales. And of course, they're going to be looking for a whole lot more soon. They are struggling in in the points attempt. This topside's been so fantastic from Tommy and Wajiro that goal zone is left only at 7. They are kidnapping this guard chump, but little do they know, Tomato and Bidopo are there for the back cap from that top elbush.
They're like, wait, no, push them in the other direction. Get away from us, help! And right now, they're just like, thank you for pushing me all the way to this goal zone. This tier 1's going down. Half your team is going down. Your tier 2 goal zone is nearly going down. They're leaving it at 21 after this, and we're still so early in the game. That would be perfect for a huge Regieleki into an overdunk. I do like this return takedown on the bottom tier 1. Vitopo, though, getting KO'd. That's going to be huge. Hitman going to get a lot of experience for that.
Picking up a couple. Also able to knock out the Blissey with that latent damage from that passive from the Latios. Minato healing up the squad. See if they could chase down Tommy. However, with that full range extension, I think they're going to be able to have a very safe recall. Never mind. We'll just heal up off the Swablu Walterias. Thank you, Garchomp basic attacks.
That was so fast, that amount of healing. That is a little bit ridiculous. Regi Ice, though, as well, is going to be absolutely melted and could have healed back up on that, if I'm being 100% honest. There's an attempt to steal here. We do have the coup de grace up, so you don't really want to try to get it that low. It doesn't feel like you have that secure unless, yeah, you go first for the Aegis Slash. Going to go into the Anvil mode and then back into the Hammer mode as it's going to try to get a little bit more damage here. Oh, going to just ignore them and continue into the back line, trying to chase down Hitman. They're doing an okay job of it, but the Bliss Assist is not going to be enough to help them get all the way there. Regi is still sitting there like somebody's going to try to finish this, but in the end, wow, it's Scyther, not what I expected.
Yeah, Mufasa playing a really passive, patient team fight in that way, leaving a couple of boosted auto attacks even while in sword form so they could wait for Wide Guard to come back up off cooldown to get access to those shield boosted auto attacks. They get a KO streak of 3, ultimately felled by Rom's Mewtwo Y, who returns in fashion. I mean, what an answer in terms of momentum, and take a look at this. Zeta Division, never once have they been satisfied with a team fight win. They always got to push for more. They're looking for blue buff.
Oh no, they might have got a little bit too greedy. Losing Tomato there is okay, but I feel like you really don't want to lose this Mewtwo. That's going to be a lot of points going to the other side, a lot of experience going to the other side. That may be one of the first moments that I've seen and said, okay, just too greedy. Especially, we saw Tomato so low. Obviously, you have their generator, so you are going to get a lot of it back, but they were still going a little bit deep for that moment. Mufasa fighting Tomi up top, and looks like there's going to be a little bit of a retreat from both sides. We are getting really close to this final stretch. They don't want a repeat of fighting from 3 minutes to 2 minutes.
Exactly. Mito still wanting to get a few of those special attack spec stacks in that tier 2 if they can. That's why we're seeing these really small scores. And at this point, they will likely be getting KO'd. But Follow Me in Moonlight can certainly buy you a whole lot of time. But how about hero backup? As Snorlax, well, they look, they watch, they decide not.
Honestly, getting yourself KO'd right there might not have been the worst choice in the world. Like, maybe they should have just turned around, let themselves get KO, changed their respawn timer. But nice, that's actually a huge one. I mean, they only got KOs on the experience share Pokemon from the side of Zeta Division. Santos Laguna getting some better targets, but they are going to use a lot of their resources.
Whoa.
2 of their damage dealers going down on the side of Santos Laguna. This is huge. They're really committing to this. Nowhere even close to the Ray Pit.
All right, and that's the Clefable down as well. They did roll Hyper Beam off their Unite move, but unfortunately, we're not able to land it on anybody. This is up to any sus. They got to change this around. It's the second instance of Power Nap.
They're burning it.
Great Coins are already down below half HP. Mewtwo Y is gone. Can any sus make it there in time? No! Vitopo's no trio. It's going to take that last hit.
Oh, they played that so incredibly smart, but there's still a few members left up of Santos Laguna. It's not 100% over yet. I mean, this is going to be a great way to hunt this down, but this is not the hugest shield in the world. Aegis Slash is going to come through. They should be able to jump over, but no, not going to be able to stop it in time. Had to make the read beforehand, maybe, and especially with these points up top, it's going to be even more and more difficult. However, because that was such a quick Ray rip, we still have 1 minute and 20 seconds left. That was a gigantic KO. You can see how many points were actually just picked up. 50 now in the pockets of Latios, 26 in the pockets of Aegis Slash. This is not over.
It is not. They do have some incredible burst damage Pokemon. Scyther, Aegis Slash, potentially even this poke damage from Latios can take some team fight wins on this tier 2. Zeta Division are now going to be caught in that weird space where their lead is okay, but they could push for some back caps as well. Tomatoes Ho-Oh does have almost 50 points and is looking to take the sack route all the way to the home goal zone.
Oh yeah, that one's almost certainly going in. This is gonna have to be a really far push all the way from Santos Laguna. That's gonna be an unstoppable. Oh, they even have the shield left 100%. I didn't even realize that. They're gonna be rotating all the way down to this bottom tier 2, it looks like, seeing if they can catch anybody out. You're not coming out from Mewtwo. That's actually gonna collect on a lot right there. The Bliss assistance onto this guard chop is gonna help them get double KOs. Gonna go for third and a fourth. Everybody pinned together. This is not looking like a great position for Santos Laguna at the moment. No KOs on their side quite yet. They need everybody to go down, but they're the ones going down. Only one member up. And that is certainly not going to be enough. All the way back at base, 10 seconds left. Zeta Division is controlling this one to go to a 2-0 lead.
Wow, yet another Rayquaza fight that starts just a few moments before the Pokemon actually spawns in and hits the map. And Zeta Division this time coming out on top, both in terms of that first fight as well as capitalizing and knocking out that Rayquaza. Massive play from this team. Things did look a little scary, but a few Pokemon holding onto shields really make